There is the national championship tomorrow night in college football. Crazy. I mean, it feels like we got all this going on, and then it's like, oh, national championship's tomorrow. How about that? There's obviously been talk about how the schedule is a problem in college football. And I don't know if you guys know this, the national championship next year is a week later than it is this year.
Gosh.
But for the game we got on Monday night, Indiana, Miami, Hard Rock Stadium, Miami's home field. Indiana is -7.5. Feels like the same old story, right? That it's like the Alabama game, maybe not so much the Oregon game, but like you think about Indiana's game against Ohio State, Alabama, and whenever they're matching up with these big dogs, it's like, all right, well, Indiana looks like the better team, and everything we've seen all year, they look like the best team, but Miami's got Malachi Tony. Miami's got Reuben Bain. Miami's got 350-pound offensive linemen that will just lean and lean and lean on you. How is that going to play out? I have a feeling the talent won't be overbearing to Indiana based on everything I've seen. I will want to say this. For Miami, we talk about how good their defense is. Indiana does have a slight edge in pretty much every defensive category. Total yards, they're fourth to Miami's 11th. Passing yards, they're 21st to Miami's 34th. Rushing, they're second to Miami's 6th. Points, second to 5th. And third down, they're both tied for 8th in defensive stats. So Indiana kind of has a better defense. And you could say they play better competition week in and week out. We know Indiana's defense is legit. How's Carson Beck going to attack that, right? Carson Beck had a good game against Ole Miss, but I just read off all those Indiana stats. I'm going to venture off and tell you and go on a limb, Indiana's defense is probably a lot better than Ole Miss's, okay? We knew, I've said a million times, Ole Miss had the worst defense in the playoffs. So can he top that performance that he had last week? Or is he going to go back to the first two playoff games where he's, just doing everything that he can to not turn the ball over, throwing for 112 yards, screens? How is that going to look? Because and then on the Indiana side, will things be as easy as they've been the first two games in the playoffs for him? I mean, things have not. They haven't had to struggle for anything the first two games. It's been easy. I mean, last game, they won the game pretty much on the first play of the game. So is it going to get harder for them? Or are they going to finally meet their match? Mendoza's just been under no pressure. He's got, more touchdowns and incompletions? If Miami wants to win this game, I'm looking at the Penn State tape. I'm looking at the Iowa tape. I'm looking at the Ohio State tape. You've got to suffocate that offense and take away the explosives. Stop the run. Number one, that's what defensive people want to do. You got to stop the run. Miami's got to make sure that Indiana cannot gash them for 5-6 yards of carry. There's a stat out there that says Indiana, in their games against those three teams I mentioned, like Penn State, Iowa, and Ohio State, they ran for less than 4 yards of carry in all those games. In every other game where they ran for more than 4 yards of carry, they've won by 25 plus in each game. Miami's got to stop them. And then on the other side, Mark Fletcher's going to have a game. Okay, at the end of the day, I can't find it within me to pick against Indiana. I mean, and I think Miami's got the talent. I went over all of that. But the team camaraderie of Indiana is just insane. And I think at the end of the day, I'm going to lean back on, I don't know if Carson Beck can do it again. I don't think Indiana's going to win this game by 30 points. But I do think they'll win by a touchdown or so. And I think Indiana's going to win this game. I'm taking them to win. I'm really excited to watch it. One last college football game this year.
So are you going to take them -7.5?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, I'm right there with you. And I think you hit the nail on the head. I think there's a laundry list of things that have to go right for Miami to win this game, because I do think that Indiana plays like a better team than Miami does. For them to win, Reuben Bain's going to have to dominate. Mendoza's going to have to get thrown off. They're going to have to be able to stop their run. And it's something I said last time we talked about Indiana. I talked about how balanced their offense is. That they'll throw for 180 and they'll run for 175. That is the only thing. It's like, well, what happens to Indiana when they can't throw the ball and they have to run it? What happens to them when they can't run the ball and they have to throw it? And when they get thrown off like this, what are they going to do? I feel like that's the recipe for Miami. Get them off schedule, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 8 and longer. Because I feel like I feel like Indiana's better than anybody in the country at being able to, all their third downs are 3rd and 3. 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1. Easy. You work on that in practice. You have your third down playbook, to be able to pick up a couple yards and get a new set. So I'm with you. I think, listen, at this point, how can you pick against Indiana? I mean, they've done nothing but answer the whistle every single time that they've when they played Penn State, when they played Ohio State, when they played Alabama, when they played Oregon, both times, they answered the whistle and they showed us that they're a dang good football team. And also, I just want them to win. I want Indiana to win so bad. Number one, on one hand, I just don't really like Miami. I don't really want to see Carson Beck lift the trophy. You know, call me a hater, call it this, but I don't want that to happen. I just don't want to see it. But also, I love Fernando Mendoza. I love Kirk Cignetti. I love not Chaz Surratt. What's his name?
Surratt.
Elijah Surratt. Who was Chaz Surratt? Was that the quarterback in North Carolina? It was. I like Elijah Surratt. I like this whole group that they've put together. I think it's an awesome story. And if they go 15-1 and they lose in Miami on a national championship, that's going to be, you know, they'll still make the movie, but the movie's going to end like Friday Night Lights, the movie where they lose in the state championship game, and you're like, oh my god, how did that just happen? It breaks your heart. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Indiana. I think they nailed the spread on this because 7.5 really makes you scratch your head, like, oh my gosh, what is that going to?
Cignetti said he thought it was a setup. The spread.
Yeah,
Somebody told him about the spread. He goes, I think that's a setup.
Maybe
Be
it
careful,
is.
but I think now he's trying to set us up.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe
Maybe that's the cheating scandal right there. He knows he's throwing people off in Vegas lines. He's being like, it's a setup. Don't take us. And bang, they give him the Miami playbook.
So me and G actually talked about this in that fateful Uber last night that did not treat me very, very well for the people at home. But you know, we made a rally after that. But anywho, conversation about this game. I told him last night I'd pick Miami.
You did tell me that.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to go down the rundown and you're going to figure out that I'm probably going to go against that here. The first thing that I wrote down for my analysis when I was like truly, because, you know, podcast days, I think I've had enough. This is about, you know, the fourth quarter, 2-minute drill that you got to have like your take, right? So like you finally got all the thoughts together. You've seen all the evidence. It's a coaching staff game, boys. When it's the big games like this and the talent is equal like that. And I know the teams play different styles. Like Miami's got the big brawlers and it's got the people that are just sound. They've been playing football longer than everybody else, college football combined or whatever, you know, the age game. Go back to the A&M game. This is the game that still bothers me about Miami. Okay. It was a 10-3 game. Obviously the win and all that stuff was an issue, but they were more so or less scared of Texas A&M's defense. And I think Indiana's is just as fearful. Whatever you think that A&M could do to you, Indiana's got that and more, and they're better coached. They ran the most trick plays I think I've ever seen in a football game in that game because they thought they had to gimmick their way to a win. I feel like they're going to do the same thing this game. I feel like Shannon Dawson is going to try his best to try and scheme yards and outthink everybody and try and be the smartest man in the room because he's done it a couple times this year. I mean, you look at when Miami's had faults this year, it's been when Shannon Dawson gets a little loosey-goosey. I told y'all he was razzle-dazzle like 2 weeks ago, and I'm not a huge fan of that compared to what they need to do, which is do they just hand it to Mark Fletcher the whole game and keep it on the ground and try and mash and punt and live with it. I think he'd be a little nerve-wracked to do that. I think Miami feels like to me they're going to be forced to score points. I think Indiana's defense is going to be like trying to confuse back, force them into some turnovers and stuff because let's make no mistake about it. You're not going to see Mark Fletcher run for 200 yards in this game, I don't think. 200 would be, if they run for 200 yards, Miami's winning in a landslide. I just don't see that Indiana is going to be that non-competitive. They're going to be effective in making Beck have to make throws on third down or on second down or trying to get the drive going and get juice. I lack confidence there. I have confidence in Mendoza more than I did when he won the damn Heisman. Like he's played his best football since he hoisted the trophy. And so when people talk about Indiana's stat line of like, you know, when they don't run for over 3.5 yards a carry, the games are a struggle, it's here and there. I don't think you're talking about the same team and the same quarterback. This is a different dude. I mean, he's had more touchdowns and incompletions in the college football playoff.
Almost double.
I think that Indiana will be able to be carried above that by Mendoza's play. He's not going to make mistakes. Like they're going to execute. That is the one thing that they do. And I think at some point or other, Miami's going to feel like they've got to gamble to win the hand and they're going to get it taken. They're going to lose their chips. So I'll take Indiana.
I knew it. Okay, I asked Caleb not over last night.
I was on Miami.
I said, who are you going to pick tomorrow?
Boys.
He said Miami. I said, all right. Well, when we get on that podcast, and you better pick Miami. And sure enough, here we are.
I've been on Miami for 2 weeks. Whenever the game got announced, ever since, I've thought Miami was going to win it. I think they were going to be able to run the ball and mash those guys. But like think of the nuances of the game. They're not going to be as well coached. The special team's going to suffer. I think Indiana's going to have a plan for Malachi Tony. And more so, like Carson Beck's been somewhat absent until like they forced him to make like 7 throws in the fourth quarter of the 2 games that they've won the last 2. So, Indiana just, to me, like you guys said, it would be better for college football if Indiana wins this game. I would feel bad pulling for Miami.
How long, let's say Indiana wins, okay? How long until Indiana, like let's say next season they're going on a deep run, maybe they win back to back, but they're back, they're here. How long before Indiana becomes an enemy to college football?
2 years.
See, if you want to relate this to basketball, I remember when the Golden State Warriors came on the scene, everyone loved the Warriors. Everyone loved how they were playing, and they won a championship, and they won 2 championships, and they won 3, and everyone's like, I hate the Warriors. They just shoot threes
Well, they
all the
signed
time.
Durant.
That does play in factor. But hey, like I said a couple weeks ago, look at their NIL class. They're basically signing Durant this offseason.
All right. Well, we're excited. One last college football game. Been a great season. Great season for us. Great season to watch. Excited also. They still haven't even decided about next year's playoff, like what it's going to be. It looks like it might stay at a 12. Like the SEC and Big Ten hasn't agreed on the 16 or 24 format yet, apparently. So we'll see. It's crazy. College football doesn't even know what their postseason will look like next year. Next time, deep shout out.